it is, David, to follow you in so many ways. Honoured guests, it's really a privilege to be here. For the record, I also love my mother-in-law as well. In fact, she recently celebrated her 90th birthday and is very strong and does also huge work for the Jewish community and for Israel. So we're in good company, David. This journey a week ago started obviously with Yom HaShoah. We commemorated Yom HaShoah, and we were still in Sydney at the time. And Judy and I and two of our kids, we were going to an important ceremony for the community. And just as we arrived at the event where the community event was taking place, one of our daughters, her name is Claudia, received a call just as we got there and said, "Dad, I need to take the car. I need to go now." And why did she need to go? She needed to go because there was a serious terrorism threat at our synagogue in Sydney, and it was real and it was live. And her responsibility in Sydney is with the communal security group responsible for synagogues. And thank God it ended up not to be a terrible event, such as we've all recently experienced in Pittsburgh and San Diego, and are so used to. But it's very poignant of how real this threat is around the world of anti-Semitism. And of course, it hit us so closely. We, of course, went from there. A few days later, flew to Tel Aviv. And of course, we arrived to rockets raining down in the south. And to the devastating news of a number of deaths. And then, of course, we moved into Yom HaZikaron and the amazing ceremony with 6,000, mainly young people from Massa, at Latrun. In a really unbelievable ceremony, so moving and so real. And as David said, it's for all of us. It's not just for the people of Israel, it's for all the Jews around the world feel the same. And of course, we then celebrated and moved very quickly into Yom Ha'atzmaut. As David also said, within a few days prior to that, we had a number of meetings, one of which was the President's Conference, and there was 36 presidents there, as he said, from around the world, from the smallest campaigns in Guatemala and Madrid to the largest campaigns in Canada, Australia, and a number of the other bigger countries. And for me, it was really an unbelievable re-entry into the leadership of Keren Hayesod, and to see, I was so moved by the passion and the absolute love of Israel and the love of sharing ideas between people. Some of them have never met each other before. But of course, we all have the same passion, the same love of Israel, and the deep desire to do our part from the diaspora. And that was really the last few days. And of course, as Ambassador Friedman said, it is tiring. The emotions are high and low, from sadness to incredible joy, all within a few days. And for me to experience within that period of time the breadth and the depth of the Keren Hayesod world was truly inspirational. And I'm so proud and honoured to be asked to lead, together with a number of others here, such a wonderful, wonderful organisation. I also want to take this opportunity to congratulate the winners of the Yakir Awards, and you could see the diverse nature of the 6 winners, and each of them in their own right deserve such accomplishments, and it was really a privilege to be able to personally congratulate those really in my first day as being in the chair, I guess. Feeling the warmth and the emotion in this room is just incredible. People from around the world, again, hardly who know each other, are all here for the same reason. Most of you have been working for a very long time. Our mission is very, very clear. Our mission is clear for all of us in our deep desire to fulfill our responsibility of helping the people of Israel. And it's so powerful, as David has said, such a powerful inspiration. And I'm unbelievably proud to be standing here right now. I want to take this opportunity to thank David. He's been thanked many times tonight. It's an unbelievable honour to succeed you, David. We have so many things in common, our families and personally. We have so many things in common, and it is such an inspiration to follow you, even up to the last minute. I was going to say, but you don't really need me to say this, that David took the responsibility of the chair of the World Board of Trustees up until the very last second of the final second of the board meetings. But I thought you were finished there. You were not. You actually finished right now. And you finished in the way you delivered such an unbelievable and learned speech. I hope that in the time that I'm honoured to serve you, I will be able to give as much as you have, because the organisation in my short time here is in unbelievable shape, and you're very, very humble. It's clearly a team, but every team needs a leader. And what I observed in the last few days was the respect that you received, and I would go even further, the love that you received from the people that you have been involved with for this period of time. I personally saw it in the last few days. You don't get respect, you earn respect. And you clearly deserve everything that has been said about you tonight and more. So I would like to pay tribute to you personally myself. I did say we share many things. There's a few things we don't quite share, David. Somebody said walking in, it's good that you have grey hair when you come into this job, because you'll definitely have it at the end. But somehow you don't have that, David. I don't know quite how you achieve that. And I learnt in the last few days that you're not such a touchy-feely guy. You don't really like dancing the hora. And somehow you got all these accolades without doing that for the last 5 years. So you're a magician as well, as a master. This is a very special moment in time for Keren Hayesod and the state of Israel, and indeed the Jewish people. Next year will be 100 years, as you've heard, and of course you know, of Keren Hayesod. It's a time to celebrate the enormous achievements and the impact that Keren Hayesod has had on the state of Israel. It's a time to thank so many people. I'm sure it's in thousands in terms of leadership, and a lot greater than that in terms of supporters, and the impact that it has had on the state of Israel. And it will be a time to thank everybody and those who have served us in the recent past, but also remember those that served Keren Hayesod in the very beginning, because I think any organisation of this stature and importance to the state of Israel needs to always remember exactly where it came from. And I'm sure we'll celebrate that next year. But it's also a time to reflect on the future and to make sure that this organisation, this wonderful organisation, is as strong in the future as it is in the past. You all know that we're living in very, very complex times right now. We're living in complex geopolitical times. We're living in complex times within the Jewish world itself. There's a lot of political division within Israel and within the diaspora, and from the diaspora to Israel, and vice versa. All of these things impact our role in serving the people of Israel by raising funds for Israel, and particularly for and through the Jewish Agency. As I said when I started, the rise of anti-Semitism is just unbelievably shocking, and is affecting us all around the world, and that impacts us as well. And then, of course, you have with a sense of luxury comes a sense of possibly forgetting why we're really here and how we really got here. Many in the diaspora look at Israel as being very strong. They look at Israel as being socially strong, economically strong, technologically strong, politically strong. And of course, that impacts in the mind, does does Israel really deserve the support of Keren Hayesod and its supporters? And it is our job to redouble our efforts, to remind them that as strong as Israel is, it's critically important for the future of Israel, the partnership that exists between Israel and the diaspora, and vice versa. And we're living in times that in a small time of history that we've never lived in before. And those who live in the diaspora, many of us in this room, myself, my family, are unbelievably privileged and could not live like we do in our countries without a strong and vibrant Israel. And that is our responsibility to continue to do everything we can to preserve that. And at 100 years, I think it's a very important time for us to remind ourselves, those within Israel and outside of Israel, of that responsibility. And I'm sure that will take place. And I'm very proud of that time, because I'm sure that will be a moment to reflect and redouble our efforts for the future. We all shoulder a huge responsibility, and I must tell you, I'm feeling some responsibility here right now of taking on the role, because the responsibility of the partnership between the diaspora and Israel is so important, and I'm very proud to be here, as I've said before, but I equally shoulder a large responsibility and look forward to sharing that responsibility with all of us in this room and so many outside of this room. When David asked me would I consider taking on this role, the first thing I did was talk to Judy about that. And she encouraged me enormously from the first words that came out of my mouth. She said to me, "You must do it. You're in a position to do it. You have a responsibility to do it, and I'll do it with you." And that partnership that we share gave me an enormous strength to make the decision to take it on. And clearly we've had now the opportunity to see David and Serena and the partnership that they share and the role that they've played to one another and the strength that they've given one another is really a great role model for us. And I really appreciate that, and I have no doubt that Judy and I will follow on from that and give what we can to the state of Israel. These values are instilled in us by our parents, both our parents, our family values, our Jewish values, and our deep love of Israel and our deep sense of responsibility for Israel. In my personal case, many of you know my parents. The Jewish Agency is very close to in a personal way to me and my family. I think many of you know the story of my father, and I won't go into that too much tonight. But he clearly survived, was a Holocaust survivor, and unfortunately his father and most of his family and my grandmother's family perished in the Holocaust. But it was the Jewish Agency that brought my father, together with his brother, from Europe to, at the time, Palestine. And it was the Jewish Agency that created the youth village of Sde Yaakov in the north, where he stayed when he came here. So you can imagine me standing here now with the deep history and roots, so personally touching myself and my family. And of course, my father had the privilege of fighting in the War of Independence in the Golani Brigade. And it's incredible, even in the last few days, talking to we had the privilege of meeting some lone soldiers today, also from Golani, and just that connection that immediately gets sparked up is just so touching and so personal. So I feel a very deep responsibility to be here tonight and to do what we can. Our Keren Hayesod journey, as you have heard, I think first from Julia and then from David or Greg, really started in our early 20s. Judy and I, just as we were married, we started in young leadership. I had the privilege of of leading young leadership in Sydney. And then actually at the 50th anniversary of Israel, I was asked to take on the World Young Leadership role. Yoki's in the room somewhere here, and I know that she was very upset with me at the time and wondered how this young man from Sydney can actually be asked to take that role. But it's nice to be here, Yoki, and following you, of course, the predecessor to David. So we've both achieved something for Keren Hayesod over the years. But that's really where our journey started all that time ago. And the issues were very different. The main focus of Keren Hayesod was Aliyah and Klita. It was the time of the journey of a million Olim from Russia and from Ethiopia to Israel, and they were the main issues. And of course, Israel was in a different position than it is today. And today the issues are quite different. But one of the things I do want to mention tonight is the young kids from the Keshe program. We had the privilege of meeting them twice on this trip. The first time on I think it was Monday evening, and Buji was kind enough to come out there and speak to them. But as there was an interaction between the Keshe kids and those on the President's Conference, there were of course rockets overhead, and the Iron Dome was shooting down rockets as we are actually discussing what are the best ways and the best techniques to engage with the next generation, because that next generation is such a key issue for us. In all walks of life, it's a challenge to resonate with the next generation, and one of our big challenges here is that next generation, our children, to have the same level of passion and responsibility and sense of obligation to serving the State of Israel just like we all do. And it was so wonderful to spend that time with them, and also this morning to hear them, because they just give an amazing sense of brightness for the future. And I'm sure you will all agree with that. I would also like to say that's where Greg and Judy and I met for the first time. It was all those years ago. Julia was, I think, world chair, and we were working in young leadership, and that's where we met Greg. Our friendship stems from all of those days, and you've obviously progressed to the position you're in now. And Greg, I feel a wonderful opportunity to work with you. You have achieved so much here in your time as Director General, and I look forward. I congratulate you for what you have done. And I have this enormous excitement about working with you and taking Keren Hayesod to the next step. So Greg, let me take the opportunity of congratulating you as well. I want to mention Sam, and I also want to mention Buji here. I really look forward to the partnership that we share together. We've already, all of us, have struck up, I think, a great rapport and a great friendship. And in any partnership, a rapport and respect and friendship will be critical, because there's no doubt there will be many difficult issues we will need to deal with. And I'm incredibly pleased that we've started so well together. And I look forward to working with you, Sam, as the World Chair, and Buji, of course, as the Chair of the Jewish Agency. I'm excited by that prospect, and I have no doubt that we'll do great things together, and I look forward to that with you. Let me close now, because you've been hearing me for a few minutes, and it's the last speech, and it's probably the worst position to be able to speak in the evening, as you all want to get home and it's late. But I'd just like to leave you with the thought that Judy and I will do everything we can to serve the people of Israel, and we will do everything we can. We have a clear sense of the privileged position we're in. We have a firm belief that with privilege comes responsibility, and we will do everything we can to work towards that responsibility. Thank you for the honour of asking me to do this job, and I look forward to working with you all, and most importantly, look forward to being with you over time in all of your campaigns. I really look forward to that. of coming to all of the campaigns, as many as possible, in as short a possible time. And I think that will be incredibly rewarding for me to see how you do it, and if I can be of help to all of you. I really look forward to that. So thank you very much, everybody.